Welcome back to Talk of the Town with PG Sittenfeld. So glad you are spending the hour with us as we talk about what women want, where they are in society today, what progress still needs to be made. Want to remind everyone one more time about the YWCA's Town Hall coming up on September 29th from 9:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon. It is a free event, again, all about what women want. Want to make sure everyone has the information I gave earlier in the show. So if you have questions, 888-953-9923 or go to YWCAUSA.org / I think I said backslash last time, / town meeting. C-SPAN's going to be covering it. It is a nonpartisan event, but also a national event. I think a lot of folks will be tuning in to see what the conversation is. Without further ado, let us bring on the national head of the YWCA, Gloria Lau. Welcome to Talk of the Town.
Good morning.
We really appreciate you joining us. So tell us, what was the sort of motive behind the What Women Want Town Hall that you're going to be hosting in Cincinnati later this month?
Well, there's been so much talk about what's important to women, and we know that women are going to be really important in this election. In fact, women are probably going to be the critical factor in deciding who our next president is going to be. So what we wanted to do, given all of the discussion around, what's important to women and the debate about, how women are going to impact the election, is actually go out and talk to women around the country and find out from them what are the issues that are most important to them, and dispel the debate and speculation, if you will, and really hear from women about not only what's important for the election, but what's important on their minds as they look out over the next few years.
Well, we're so glad that you are being part of this conversation today. And I said at the beginning of the show, I do not want to be guilty. Excuse me, of one of those conversations where a bunch of old men get in the room and say, yeah, what do women want? I think you're so smart to say, well, what should the answer be? Let's go and actually ask women. What do you see, Gloria Lau, as some of the maybe 2 or 3 biggest points of progress for women in society over the last 10, 20, 30 years?
Well, PG, I've seen huge changes and opportunities for women, both educationally and professionally over the years. Since I graduated from college and started out in my career. In the 70s, when I went to college, there was about an equal split of women and men. Now women outnumber men in colleges, and
right.
Last year, for the first time, American women passed men in getting advanced college degrees as well as bachelor's degrees. When I went to Harvard Business School in the late 70s, there were barely 15% of women in the class, and now women make up like 38% of the business school graduates. When I started out, there was one woman in the Fortune 500. Now there's like 18. But, as much progress has been made, women still have a long ways to go. Women today still earn only 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. Women make up about 4% of Fortune 500 CEOs and only about 17% of the Senate and House of Representatives.
I was going to ask, obviously progress has been made and we're all grateful that it has, but so much more to be done. What do you see as the foremost issues where, we need to continue to get better? Do you think it's greater equity in the economy or what else?
Well, the YWCA is in a unique position to know some of that because we've commissioned a nationwide survey called What Women Want 2012. Which is a national survey of priorities and concerns for women. And, what we've identified is we'll be releasing the findings later on this month, but what we found in the early information we're seeing is that affordable and secure health care is a significant concern. Jobs and economic security, especially concerns about the decline of the middle class. And then what the future holds in terms of retirement support, like Social Security, and care when people age, like with Medicare. So those are some of the critical issues that we're seeing. And then we're getting very strong feedback that that women want Congress and the White House to take action on legislation to address violence against women.
Right.
And pass the Violence Against Women Act that's been stalled in Congress for this last year, so that women are protected against domestic violence and sexual assault.
And refresh our listeners on really, why such an important piece of legislation has been stalled.
Well, this legislation was really actually passed close to 20 years ago, and it's up for reauthorization, and it's been stalled because the Senate and the House can't agree on the protections to offer for women in domestic violence and sexual assault. So they have disagreements around which classes of women should be protected. And the disagreements tend to center on Native women and what kind of protections they should have under this law, immigrant women, and LGBT lesbian, gay, transgender women.
Right. We are talking with Gloria Lau, the national head of the YWCA. And Gloria, I'm going to kick it to my co-pilot in studio for a question here.
Mrs. Lau, good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to know, do you think there's been an improvement in the work-family balance for women?
Oh, it's certainly different than what I encountered early on in my career when there was little consideration for women, or men for that matter, with family responsibilities. Today, women still hold the primary caregiving responsibilities in the home, whether that's caring for children or for elderly family members. And, while men are taking on more home front responsibilities, women are still generally the ones in charge of children and the household.
To that point, I think it's interesting that, PG read off earlier that, for the first time this year, women make up the majority of the workforce in the United States. But it's interesting that other countries, it's mandated to have paid maternity leave, but that's not the case here in the United States.
That's right. And so legislation that has been considered, like a Family Medical Leave Act, would help provide for that and provide for the ability to take time off that's protected for women to take care of their children. Women are typically the ones who have to take time off from work to take care of their children.
Gloria, later in the show, we're going to have Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz come on the show. Let me ask you this. So independent of sort of political ideology and even maybe beyond the sort of legislative impact, in terms of the symbolism, how important do you think it is that the country says we've had a female as the president of the United States?
I think that diversity is important. It really matters. And in politics, studies have actually shown that while public policy issues are the same between women and men, the priorities and the way they would address them are different. Women are more likely to focus on family and issues of community impact,
right,
like healthcare, children, education, housing, care of the elderly. And that applies to the way women elected officials approach their job. They'll tend to be more focused on those kinds of issues and on really actively working to bring those kinds of issues to the forefront in terms of the policy agendas.
Would you wager a guess about when we might see our first female president of the United States, or maybe something that is less hard to predict? When will the day come when 50% of Congress will be women?
We have a long way to go. We're ranked 90th in the world. So we do have a ways to go. But, the pipeline, I think, of women in leadership positions, whatever sector, is expanding. And so I'm very hopeful that, as early as 2016, we'll see another candidate emerge on the national scene, and we'll see more active engagement of women in politics.
We did also want to ask you, if there's a woman either historically or, someone so it could be anything from Joan of Arc to your grandmother who, has been an inspiration or hero to you.
Well, I've got to tell you, it's my mother. She came to this country from China when she was about 10 years old.
Wow.
With nothing more than the clothes in her suitcase.
Wow.
And she used to tell me in Chinese, and this is loosely translated, when you're a woman and Chinese, you're treated like you're nobody. And she showed me and taught me in my life that a woman can aspire to be whatever she wants to be. There's no limits. And that's why empowering women, all women, no matter what race, no matter how humble your beginnings, is so important to me and to the work that I do at the YWCA. because that's what the YWCA is all about.
Well, your mother certainly sounds like an inspiration, and it's a great story, and we really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show today. And we're also very grateful that you are bringing the What Women Want Town Hall to Cincinnati later this month.
Well, we're very excited about it. It's the first ever all-women town meeting in your great city.
I know, and I promise I'm not at all offended that I'm not invited. I will look forward to hearing the results of the conversation, and I think it's an important conversation to have, and we're glad that you all are facilitating it.
Well, I hope that some of your women friends can come out.
Absolutely, we will invite them today.
Again, I wanted to urge them to register at www.ywca.org/town meeting. It's free to register. Complimentary lunch is going to be served, and it's really going to be a terrific day with lots of great activities and a great exchange among the women, and a real opportunity for women's voices to be heard.
We will continue to encourage folks to turn out for what we know will be a great conversation. Gloria Lau, thanks so much for joining us on Talk of the Town.
Thank you, PG.
Take care. Folks, continue to listen. Coming up, Debbie Wasserman Schultz a little bit after the break here. Again, she's got to be the top of the list for potential people who I think could be the first female president of the United States. Very grateful to Gloria Lau for coming on the show. We're going to continue to get to the phone lines, I promise. A packed show, obviously. Stay tuned. You're listening to Talk of the Town on 1230 The Buzz, Cincinnati.